Welcome back, guys. I'm looking to reach 1,000 subs. Support me by clicking the subscribe button.
A single phone call that landed in Rome, Italy, on a warm May evening, after the Philippine flags had already been folded, after the chants of Laban Alex had faded into the ancient Roman air, after thousands of OFW fans who had traveled across Europe to cheer for their girl had started booking their trips home. The Italian Open was over. Alex Eala had just walked off the court at the Foro Italico after a fierce battle with the world number 2. Everyone assumed the chapter was closed. And then, the phone rang. And what came next? Nobody saw it coming. Not the tennis world. Not the coaches. Not even Alex Eala's team. Because what the WTA said on that call didn't just change one tournament result. It changed the entire trajectory of a 20-year-old Filipina who has been quietly, relentlessly, and absolutely sensationally rewriting the history books of Philippine tennis one match at a time. So buckle up, because we are going deep on this one. This is the full story. And trust me, you do not want to miss a single word. Let's go back to the beginning of this Roman adventure, because context is everything, and Alex Eala's Italian Open story was already remarkable before that phone call ever came. She arrived at the Foro Italico ranked number 42 in the world. Clay courts are widely considered her most challenging surface. This is a woman built for hard courts, a player whose most jaw-dropping moments have come on fast surfaces where her explosive ground strokes and laser-focused mentality take center stage. But 2026 has been a year of evolution for Eala. She came into Rome with a chip on her shoulder, a point to prove, and a burning desire to show the world that she is not a one-surface wonder. Her first match at the Italian Open set the tone immediately. She drew Poland's Magdalena Frech in the opening round, and what unfolded was a masterclass in resilience. Eala cruised through the first set 6 games to love. Yes, a bagel, a complete and utter blanking of her opponent, before Frech clawed back to take the second set 3 games to 6. Anyone else might have crumbled. Anyone else might have let that momentum shift rattle their confidence. Not Alex Eala. She came back out in the third, fought off the early pressure, broke away at 5 games to 4, and closed the match out in 2 hours and 7 minutes, winning 6-4. First round done. Ranking already jumping. The Foro Italico had just been introduced to the Filipina who was about to make Rome remember her name. And then came the match that had the Philippine nation absolutely on fire. Round 2. Wang Xinyu, world number 33. The 31st seed at the Italian Open. And here's the thing that makes this particular victory so deeply satisfying. Wang Xinyu was the same player who had defeated Eala at the Auckland Open just 4 months earlier, knocking her out in the semifinals of that tournament in a grueling 3-set battle. That loss stung. These things always do when you fight that hard and still come up short. But Alex Eala does not carry losses as burdens. She carries them as blueprints. She studies them. She learns from them. And she comes back with solutions. 4 months after Auckland, standing across the net from Wang Xinyu at the Foro Italico in Rome, Eala was a different player. She was sharper. She was more decisive. She took the first set 6-4, and when the second set tightened up, she did not blink. She broke through to close at 6-3. Straight sets. Dominant. Surgical. The avenge was complete, and Eala had reached the 3rd round of a WTA 1000 clay court event for the very first time in her career. That alone was a milestone worth celebrating. But the universe, apparently, had even bigger plans for the evening. Because waiting in round 3 was none other than Elena Rybakina, world number 2, the reigning Australian Open champion. A player who stands at 6 feet tall, serves like a cannon, and hits flat ground strokes that arrive at your side of the court like they've been fired from a railgun. Rybakina is not just a top 2 player in the world on paper. She is a legitimate Grand Slam champion twice over, with Wimbledon 2022 and the 2026 Australian Open to her name. She is, in simple terms, one of the most physically imposing and technically complete players on the entire WTA Tour. Facing her on clay, as a 20-year-old from the Philippines ranked 42 places below her, was going to be the ultimate test. And what did Alex Eala do? She played the match of her clay court life. She competed with Rybakina for every single point, pushed the world number 2 to her absolute limits, and walked off the court at the end of a 6-4, 6-3 defeat with her head held impossibly high. Because here is the truth that the scoreline alone does not tell you. Eala was not blown off the court. She was not dominated. She was not outclassed in the way that the ranking gap between them might suggest. She belonged on that court. She belonged in that match. She played points with the kind of controlled aggression and tactical intelligence that you simply do not see from most players ranked in the 40s of the world. The Foro Italico crowd felt it. The television audience felt it. And the people watching from WTA headquarters in St. Petersburg, Florida, they felt it too. When it was over, Eala did what Eala does. She went to Instagram and posted 7 words that summed up the entire Roman experience with the kind of poetic simplicity that only someone who truly lived every moment of it could muster. Rome heard me this time. Grazie mille. That was it. 7 words. And somehow, they said everything. Now, let's talk numbers for a moment, because the statistical story of Alex Eala's 2026 season is one of the most compelling in women's tennis right now, and not enough people outside the Philippines are paying it the attention it deserves. She entered 2026 having finished the previous year ranked 50th in the world. Already historic for a Filipino player. Already the highest any Filipino woman had ever climbed in the WTA rankings. Then she started the new year by reaching the semifinals at the Auckland Open. Then she made her Australian Open main draw debut. Then she went to Abu Dhabi and reached the quarterfinals. Then she went to Dubai and knocked out world number 8 Jasmine Paolini in the 3rd round. Then she went to Indian Wells, her debut at that prestigious tournament, and reached the 4th round. Then she went to Miami and did it again, 4th round. Carolina Muchova, ranked 14th in the world, needed her absolute best to stop her. Then she pivoted to clay and worked her way through Linz, Stuttgart, Madrid, and finally Rome, collecting experience and ranking points at every stop. The peak of this season so far, world number 29, achieved on the 16th of March, 2026. That ranking made Alexandra Eala the highest-ranked Filipino in WTA Tour history. Let that settle. The highest, ever, in the entire history of Philippines tennis. A 20-year-old from Quezon City, who grew up dreaming about tennis while most of her peers didn't even know the sport existed at the professional level in their country. She is number 29 in the world. And her run in Rome pushed her up to number 38, with 130 ranking points added to her total and a prize check of $54,176 heading back to her camp. But none of that, not the rankings, not the prize money, not the history, prepared anyone for what came after the tournament ended. The call from WTA headquarters. The announcement that sent shockwave through every tennis locker room on the planet. A wild card. Not for a challenger event. Not for a WTA 250. Not for a tune-up tournament somewhere on the fringes of the calendar. A wild card for a Grand Slam. For the United States Open. The final major of the tennis year. The tournament where careers are defined, where legends are born, where the lights are the brightest and the pressure is the most relentless. And the WTA just handed Alex Eala a golden ticket straight into the main draw. Let's be absolutely clear about what this means, because wild cards into Grand Slam main draws are not handed out like candy. They are precious, carefully considered decisions made by tournament directors and governing bodies who weigh not just rankings, but trajectory, marketability, form, and the broader story of the sport. Grand Slam wild cards typically go to returning former champions, host nation favorites, or rising stars who have demonstrated something exceptional. The fact that the WTA has pointed at Alex Eala and said, she gets a direct path into the main draw of the US Open, is a statement that goes far beyond tennis etiquette. It is an acknowledgement, a declaration, the sport's governing body officially recognizing that this young woman belongs on the grandest stages that tennis has to offer. And here is where the hard-court story becomes even more tantalizing. Because the US Open is not clay. The US Open is hard courts, fast, bouncy, high-energy hard courts in Flushing Meadows, New York, where the ball jumps off the surface and the pace of play is relentless. And hard courts are where Alex Eala is most dangerous. This is the surface where she went on her unforgettable run at the Miami Open in 2025, destroying 3 Grand Slam champions in consecutive rounds while ranked 140 in the world and holding a wild card that most people assumed was just a formality.
Welcome back, guys. I'm looking to reach 1,000 subs. Support me by clicking the subscribe button.